Good morning. So what do we do when we wake up really early in the morning? We decide that we're gonna paint and make some flowers. So I've gotten everything pretty much ready here that we're gonna use today. We're gonna put a white background on this painting canvas. So just like you would do with a negative pour, we're gonna paint it all white. Then I've got some colors that I've mixed up. Several different colors that we're going to make some flowers with. And then I've got green for maybe some leaves, gold for an accent, and black perhaps if we want to outline with a darker color. So I've mixed those all up ahead of time. In the detailed ones, the green, the gold, and the black, I do not have any silicone. In the floral petal colors, I'm going to put a drop of silicone in each one of those. So let's get started. And I do have two kittens, and they may try to help us with this painting, so it might be interesting. So, all right. I mix my Floral to a ratio of 1 part paint to 2 parts Floral, and then I add water if necessary. This doesn't look like it needs any water really today. It's kind of, I had added water to my white mix before, so this doesn't need any more water at this time. So, as I said, we're going to put this all as a white background. And honestly, I try not to waste paint if at all possible. I picked up a tip from somebody else to use, like from the dollar store, a cheap hair pick or comb. It helps actually to spread the paint across the painting and just get a nice layer. Because with this type of painting, we really don't need to be flowing over the edges as with some of the other paintings. We just want to make sure the whole canvas is covered. And then I can paint the edges later on, you know, with a white background if I need to. So I'm just smoothing out the white paint. It looks like I need a little bit more to cover this. I always keep white in a squirt bottle because you never know when you might need some more white to fill in an area or whatever the case may be. Guess my kittens have decided it's early morning playtime behind us, so you might hear some background noise. My apologies. At least Jasper and Cleo aren't trying to paint with us, which might be disastrous. What I've done is I've got a cake decorating turntable that I've put underneath my painting. This is an upgrade for me. And I had some old cake rounds, cardboard cake rounds that I've put on top of that just to make the surface bigger, because this is a little bit bigger canvas than I've used before. So this is making it a little bit easier for me to like turn my painting around and not have to turn it manually. And underneath my setup, I have parchment paper to catch the paint drippings. It also works, the back of your canvases don't stick to the parchment paper if you were to be doing a regular pour painting. I've done it to save the top of my table here. Looks like I have a Floral trunk in there. I highly recommend putting your Floral through a filter. What is the word I'm looking for right now? I have like a, oh God. I strain it, that's right, a little strainer. Also something I picked up at the dollar store. I try to keep costs to the minimum if at all possible. Floral can get some, you know, chunkies in it, and you don't want those in your paintings. So, all right. So we have a completely white background now. everything is covered just with a thin layer of white paint. All right, I'm happy with that for now. Behind my flowers, I like to put some accents sometimes, just to not just have a completely white background, and you can do this any way you want to. I'm just going to use, I'm using a popsicle stick. I'm just drawing some shapes here. On that popsicle, I'm going to do some things with the hair pick actually in a minute, after I get some of this paint for accent on here. And this doesn't have to be super particular how you do it, because like I said, it's just going to be an accent on the back of my white. It's not something, and I'm using a very light color of gold, so, and it's Inca gold. It's a very light gold. It's going to blend in a lot with the white here. And I'm going to take this pick, and I'm just going to run through it, and it actually kind of makes some really delicate marks then when you run through it a couple different times. I hope this shows up well for you in the video, but I'm just running through that. And it kind of just pulls the paint a little bit different directions. Like I said, this is completely just an accent, so that we don't have a complete white background. Just a little more fun going on. And guys, I think I'm like one of the world's messiest painters in the world, so I don't know how other people can keep themselves so clean when they paint, but I become disastrously messy, so we'll be lucky if we don't end up with paint on the kittens. All right, so how do we do the flowers? Well, we're gonna make a small round puddle of some droplets of paint, and then we're gonna blow them into shape. So I have already mixed up these colors. I have a couple of blues, a couple of pinks, a very pale pink, and a yellow. I don't know if I'm going to use all of them, but I like to have a selection of colors. A lot of times I'll throw a little bit of gold into the flower as well. So we do want, I'm going to start out with a blue, the very dark blue. Yeah, we need to put some silicone in these though. So in each one of these, I'm going to put a drop of silicone, because we do want some of the selling to happen with the flowers. I do mix it up well, so that we get little cells. I don't want really big cells in my flowers. And then we're just gonna put some drops. This does not take that much paint, so be aware that it's really not a lot of paint that you need to make flowers. Next, I'm gonna put some of this darker pink. I don't know why, but this darker pink's a little on the thick side. I'm gonna add just a drop of water in it, because it needs to be thin enough to like drop onto the painting. Okay, that's better. One drop of water did the trick. So I always keep a squirt bottle with white, a lot of times in the middle of the flowers, to help them spread out a little bit and to break up the colors. Put a little bit of white in between. Gotta put some yellow. I think we're gonna put some gold here now. put some of the lighter blue. We're going to see what we're going to get with this flower combination. Everyone's always different, and they always become interesting. And a lot of times I'll add more paint after we start blowing to get the colors that I like into the leaves and petals and stuff. So, and we're going to add some of this lighter pink. You don't have to do this many colors in it. You can use 3, you can use a couple, whatever you want to do. I'm just being a little bit adventurous this morning. So now we have the starting of our flower on this canvas. Oh. So here comes the fun part. Now we get to try to blow them into straight shape. Most of the time I end up doing like 5 petals as I go around, 4 to 5 petals, but here we go. This is a bendable straw. You need it to bend so that you can point it in the right direction. Now you need to know with the flowers, when they dry, they actually get darker because some of that colored paint is actually underneath the white. So they will darken up a little bit, but this is still pretty light in some of the petals. So I'll add a couple more drops of paint on it to get some variation in a flower color. Since this ones are mainly blue, I think I'm gonna add just some darker pinks and maybe some of the yellow to make them prettier flowers here. And this is no exact science by far. You have to play around with it to get what you like. I keep playing and sometimes I make it worse than what I liked in the beginning. But we'll try to get something beautiful going on here. Okay, so I put mainly some pink, some yellow, and a little bit of blue on top of it. And I'm going to blow those same directions again on the flowers. Obviously, I'm making these flowers bigger as I'm going. You can kind of blow them into the shape, into a more petally shape as you're doing it, putting a little bit bigger petal area in the middle so it looks more like a floral petal. See how that works? And usually I like to blow one leaf off of the painting so it goes over the edge. Okay. So that's the main part of our flower. We're going to put a little bit of detail in here. But first we're going to do this. So I've got a clean, and these are candy sticks from Walmart, honestly. So it's a pointed stick, wood stick. And I'm going to just pull back into some of the petals to try to define here. So like on this edge here, this is kind of mixed up and I can't see a definition with the petal. I'm going to pull the white back into the flower, therefore defining the petal. And each time in between, if you do this, you have to wipe it off because otherwise you're going to just mix a bunch of paint. So here again, I'm going to pull into there and make a more defined petal. And again, pulling in this one, we're going to pull that in. Last one, we're going to pull that in. So now we've made more definition in the petals themselves. I'm pretty happy with that flower so far. I'm just gonna do I'm gonna do a couple little dots here in the middle just to kind of give like this is the middle of the flower. Depending on how the flower looks and what I want to do is depending on what outline of the petals I'm going to use. This one has a lot of blue in it, so I'm going to use the darker blue to try to just outline some of the leaves a little bit to give it a little more characteristic of a leaf. And again, in between doing this, I don't like how that turned out. So I'm just I don't know, this paint is not cooperating with me this morning as much as I would like it to. I think we're going to revert to using black to outline today. My black doesn't have any silicone in it and it's not going to sell up on me. And since the blues are so dark, just to give some really nice definition to these flowers, I'm going to try using black to define. And okay, I'm liking that a whole lot better. The black is giving a real nice definition to the petals here. We're not going to outline every little petal or every little place in the flowers. We're going to just do some outlining. I don't want it to look like too contrived or too, like I specifically outlined all this. And even if you dropped, you noticed I dropped a big drop of black on there, you can pull that up into a different area. So you're never gonna hurt your painting really completely. And if I don't like it, I can always blow it more. So we always have options, right? And when I'm doing this outline, it's really a tiny little bit of paint. If you get too much, then it starts being messy. There wasn't enough white here for me to pull in very well, so there we go. Okay, so we're gonna just do some crazy outlining here. Maybe do This is not a quick process like just pouring a painting. Obviously it takes a lot longer to do some of these things because you're adding a lot more details in what you're doing. So I'm getting pretty happy with how this is starting to look. I'm going to define this just a little bit more down here because we have a bunch of gold in there, and so the gold is taking over some of my colors here. I told you, like, I end up like reblowing these a lot of times until they get to where I want them to be. Sometimes the paint starts pulling back a little bit, so I think I just need to stop with that particular flower, and we'll move on to another flower. Since this is 11 by 14 canvas, I think we need to put one more flower here on the other side to, you know, make sure we have enough going on this particular canvas. So let's make this one more of, I want more pinks in this one, so I'm going to put pink first so that it shows up more pink. Because usually the first color is what shows up the most. So I'm going to put quite a bit of dark pink. I like, sometimes I do all the flowers the same, sometimes I do them different. I'm getting a little more adventurous here early in the morning. I want to make this flower nice and bright. So I don't know, I've got like 5 drops of pink that I put on. We're gonna put a little bit of blue. This is the lighter of the 2 blues. I'm gonna put a little bit of white to break up the colors in there, and it'll help it create some cells too in the leaves, or petals of the flowers, I should say. And so now we have a lighter pink. How about we put some gold? And then I think I'm going to put a little bit of the darker, or medium pink, I should say. So this is the medium color pink, because I have a light, a medium, and a dark. And we'll put 1 drop of yellow on top of that. Oh, no painting with us there, kitty. All right, so again, this starts to spread out on the white paint. It's pushing itself out a little bit. And we're gonna blow from the center out. I'm gonna make 5 petals, I think, because these kind of end up looking like hibiscus flowers then. And let's go for it. Well, this did not give us that much color at all, so I'm gonna put some more paint on here. I don't know if it's, I've got more white on the background that's wetter today, and it's just not giving me as much coloring as what I normally like. mess with the paints. So this is interesting because I'm trying to get more of the paint onto the canvas. This is probably going to end up being a really big flower at the end of this. That's okay. The fun part about this is sometimes you can get some splatterings of little drops of color other places, which can be kind of cool for just extra details. But here we go. We're going to blow this pretty hard to try to get this leaf out here. Okay, I'm much happier with the color now. But they're ending up pretty blue. We're going to blow 2 of these leaves off the side of the canvas. Sometimes when you blow the leaves off the side of the canvas, it helps with the extra paint because it gets a little too much paint going on. This is ending up really pretty, even though I really wanted it to be more pink. I still really like it. I might do some outlining in pink to give this a little bit different definition. Okay, so that's a really big flower. And I think I'm going to give some of these bottom flowers, petals, a definition in pink to give them some different direction. First, I'm going to pull some of this white in to try to make better leaves. Petals, I keep calling them leaves. So and if you need to, like, I'm going to add a little bit of just plain white there so I can pull it in better. See, that ended up working better because I've got a lot of gold in the background here. I'm going to pretty good. Forever playing with my petals. All right, so like I said, this time I'm going to do some definition in bright pink to make this flower look a little different than the other one. And we might use some black at the other parts of it, not sure. We'll see how it starts looking, and then I'll make a decision from there. So I'm liking the dark pink because I really wanted this flower to be more pink. So that's how I'm going to achieve it, is by outlining in pink. Sometimes if you want the line thicker, I'm turning the stick to the side a little bit to get a little bit more paint on the edge, and then I point it when I'm trying to get a thinner line. Because we really don't necessarily want all of them to look exactly like we outlined something. Trying to really make these look like, you know, petals on a flower. See, like this has a little bit more paint than I want. I can pull it back in. And after I do this pink, I might even do a little bit of black on the outside of the pink to give it really defined petals. See how you can push these into, kind of push them in the shape where you want. I think I'm going to add a tiny bit of black to some of the outlines, just because. So, and I'm kind of going right outside where I outlined before. So we get like a double effect of the pink and blue flowers. You can even play around and make some more details in your flowers, like this black line got a little dark on me, so I'm just gonna pull some white back in. Little wide, I should say. Oh no, this is not cooperating with me today. Sometimes when you try to do too much, then you end up messing up what you had. Okay, I think we're gonna put some dots in the middle, make this the center of this flower. And I think we're gonna call that a day on that flower before I cause any more craziness with it for the most part. Okay, well, I'm totally and completely done with this flower. Sometimes I put leaves on the flowers. I don't think I'm gonna put any leaves on the flowers. I might put, let's put just, I don't know, just gonna put like a tiny line of green, and we'll do some of the, pulling through, like I was saying. So I'm just pulling through the white with the it's a hair pick, and it just kind of gives it interesting. So I'm kind of liking that. I put a little bit of green and a little bit of gold on top of the green, and then kind of blended it into the back here. Just giving this a little more character, making it a little bit more finished painting rather than just the flowers on a white background. I mean, the flowers are beautiful on a white background, but just like to have a little bit more character going on these days. Trying to all right. So I think we're done here. I keep saying I think we're done, right? The reason I decided to blow that, and I'm going to blow this one too a little bit, is I'm trying to blow off some of the excess white, because they're kind of pulling back a little bit into the petals. Because that's a really big flower. All right, we got to leave this thing alone and call it done. So that is how to make delicate flowers. My flower tutorial, how to blow them. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day. Happy painting. And this is the final picture.
of these flowers, and I think they're going to end up drying absolutely gorgeous.